What is up, guys? Today we're going to talk about the iPhone SE 2020 versus the Pixel 5a 5G here. Let's go ahead and get started with build quality here. So as you can see, two very different size phones here. The iPhone is more of a compact device here, as you can see, and it's very small. They really don't make phones this small anymore, so it's kind of a rare phone in that regard now. As you can see, just much smaller. The Pixel kind of dwarfs it, and it is a IP67 dust and water resistant phone. It's a glass and metal device here, and it feels very solid in the hand. Power button, volume rockers, mute vibration switch, charger, stereo speakers are on here, Touch ID up front. On the Pixel here, we do actually have a metal design here. This is actually a metal design with a plastic coating on here, a fingerprint scanner. We also have our power button, volume rockers, stereo speakers, USB-C. What you'll notice with the Pixel though is you actually have a headphone jack down below, which the iPhone does not have. So that's also something to take into consideration. Basically, the iPhone looks fine from the front. The design, you know, it looks decent, but it's when you get to the front of the phone is where it shows kind of its age here. Apple deciding to go with, you know, basically an iPhone 7, iPhone 8 design here, and you just have these big chunky bezels, which, you know, it does make the phone look a little bit older now that we're going into, you know, 2022 here. So I would definitely give like the Pixel I think the Pixel just has the overall more appealing, more up-to-date design here. Now the iPhone is going to run you around $300 in the used refurbished marketplace, and I think brand new it'll cost you around $400. And also the Pixel 4a 5G is now on pre-order for $450, so it's going to be slightly more expensive than the iPhone. Alright, so as far as the displays go, you do have on the Pixel a 6.34-inch OLED HDR panel with the punch hole on the left hand side, 85% screen to body ratio, 1080p 415 for the PPI. On the iPhone, you have a Retina IPS display, and it is a 4.7-inch display, so you can see just much smaller as well. And it's a 720p plus display, 326 for the PPI, but only 65% screen to body ratio, which you can pretty much see is very obvious. You know, screen to body ratio. Basically, the Pixel's display is just a slightly brighter display, and also, like I said, thinner bezels on here. And also, in addition to that, it's an OLED panel, so colors and everything just look really, really great on the Pixel panel. Unfortunately, you know, neither of these phones have any type of high refresh rate. You know, which, you know, it is what it is. But as far as display quality, definitely go with the Pixel here. Just overall, just has a better display. Alright, so the operating system is going to vary. So you do have the latest version of iOS, and then you have the latest version of Android on here, Android 11, iOS 14. Basically, that pretty much comes down to personal preference. I think the highlights with iOS is definitely, you know, FaceTime, iMessage, stuff like that. And obviously with Android, you already know what you're going to get, more customization, and some more open source, stuff like that. So that really comes down to the person. As far as speed though, on the Pixel we have the Snapdragon 765G and the Adreno 620 on here. No SD card support, 128 gigs of internal storage and 6 gigs of RAM. On the iPhone we have the Apple A13 chip. No SD card support, 64 gigs of internal storage and 3 gigs of RAM. So you do get much more storage on the Pixel on the base model. Basically here, the iPhone just has an overpowered flagship chip in it. It's not a mid-range chip like on the Pixel. It's just extremely fast. It's pretty much what you would find in a flagship phone, which is why the phone is so popular. It's just extremely fast. But you can see the Pixel is not too far behind it, even with this chip on it. You see, I actually got into YouTube a little bit faster. So it's actually not that bad, guys. Now, where you'll actually see like the power of this chip is really when we get to gaming here. Really, when we get to gaming here, you will notice the graphic settings in PUBG. It's not even going to be comparable here. So let's just launch PUBG here and check out the graphic settings so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And iPhone in here first, Pixel right behind it. Again, this Pixel is doing really well actually. I didn't expect it to be this fast. Alright, so where the big difference is, well, most people will actually see a difference, is when you go into your graphic settings on the iPhone. You can see extreme FPS, balance, extreme. I can go up to Ultra HD. With the Pixel here, I only have ultra, and then I can't even go to, you know, HDR. So that is one thing that you'll notice off the bat. The iPhone is just going to be superior as far as gaming performance. We do have stereo speakers on both. Let's go ahead and start with the Pixel, or the hold on. So while the iPhone is actually pretty good for its size, it's still really no match for the Pixel's you know, stereo speaker setup. It's just a way louder and fuller sound here. The 808s, everything is just louder. It sounds better on the Pixel here. You guys should be able to tell that difference there. So, you know, a clear win for the Pixel here. Alright, so I do want to talk about your additional features on these phones. So, yes, the iPhone does like a headphone jack, and but it does have that IP67 rating, and you also have Touch ID on here as well, which works really well. You do have NFC, you know, or what you call Apple Pay on here, so that is on board. So you do have those features on here. Now, unfortunately, the Pixel, it does not have Face Unlock, which usually that's sort of like a one advantage that Android phones have, but they don't. It does not have Face Unlock. They, you know, opted for the physical fingerprint scanner only, which works fine. It's very fast and it's extremely accurate. But I really would like to have seen some type of Face Unlock. I don't really care that it's not as secure. I just like to have that option. But this phone, like I said, is IP rated as well, but it does have the headphone jack over the iPhone with NFC, so it does have slightly, you know, more additional features technically. So if the headphone jack is not a big thing to you, then, you know, I really wouldn't worry about it. So let's go ahead and talk about the camera setup, because this is pretty important here. So the iPhone, while it does have an excellent camera, it only has just a single 12 megapixel lens on here. It shoots at 4K, 24, 30, or 60 FPS with a 7 megapixel selfie cam that shoots in 1080p, 30 FPS. So basically, the iPhone takes some very, very good photos, especially, you know, just for this price range. My only thing is that just not having any type of ultra wide is just a killer on this phone for going into 2022. Now, if you're somebody that does not care about the ultra wide, you never take ultra wide photos, then you really won't care, because the stills on here are just so good. And also with the stills being great on here, video is also extremely good on this phone as well. Super smooth, just a super nice video on here. So the stills are super nice on the iPhone. I would say these cameras are a kind of almost matched, because since the iPhone is a little bit cheaper. Now, overall, if you move to the Pixel, I would say the overall better camera setup, or the camera that I would pick is still the Pixel here, because I think it takes slightly better photos than the iPhone, just by a little bit, depending on the type of photo. But the Pixel just has the ultra wide lens, which I think is a must for you know, almost going into 2022 here. So the Pixel does have a 12.2 megapixel standard and a 16 megapixel ultra wide. I can shoot in 4K, 30 or 60 FPS, and then an 8 megapixel selfie that shoots in 1080p. They both take almost pretty much like flagship quality stills. It's just where they both differ is pretty much with the ultra wide. That is one thing that I really miss on the iPhone SE. But other than that, excellent photos on both of these. Alright, so let's talk about the battery situation here. So on the iPhone, it does have one small advantage over the Pixel, and that is wireless charging. This phone actually has wireless charging, so I'm able to just put it down and it'll start charging. I think that is always a really nice feature to have. The Pixel does not have wireless charging, but that is pretty much it. That is where the iPhone sort of falls off. So the Pixel has a way bigger 4,680 milliamp battery compared to the iPhone's 1,821 milliamp battery. Basically, you can squeeze like 4 hours of screen on time on the iPhone. The Pixel, you're looking at least about 7 hours of screen on time, if not more, if you're a light user. So you're just getting way better battery life on this phone, which is something that I really like. So if you're somebody that you just need a phone that's going to get you pretty much all day battery life, then the Pixel is definitely, you're going to choose that over the SE for sure here. So what do you guys think? Be sure to let me know. And also charging speeds, forgot to mention 18 watts on the Pixel, and then the iPhone is 18 watts as well, so they're pretty much matched in that regard. So what do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.